Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The LinkedIn Marketer. Now, we're moving into personal branding territory today because it's an increasingly important conversation for leaders of businesses who are having to navigate their LinkedIn presence. So, in today's episode, we are going to look at personal branding, how I learnt to get more comfortable with it, and some deep journal prompts for you to ask yourself and perhaps also the leaders of your business. If you're the person responsible for LinkedIn marketing and you're getting some reluctance from some of your leaders, this episode is for you. So it's really getting comfortable is the first step, or learning to manage the discomfort might be a better way to describe that. The next one is really thinking about, well, what is my personal branding strategy? So rather than, oh, yes, I'm going to put myself out there, I'm going to show up once a week, it's thinking through, well, hang on, what does that actually look like? What's your game plan? And then once you've stepped through that, it's really moving into the risk taking. And I think the risk taking is where the magic happens and where you can really cut through. And I don't mean your posts go viral. I mean your insights that you share and the perspectives that you share that are very unique to you because of the risks that you might choose to take. And I'll talk you through some examples of that really resonate with the people who you're trying to reach. And that's where doing that strategy step is really important. A general discomfort or unease with personal branding is common for those people who believe their work should speak for itself. And I agree, your work and your reputation should speak for itself. However, we now live in an age where people can assess you online. And because of that, you have an opportunity to provide evidence of what it is that you believe in, what you stand for, and the issues and topics that you wish to commentate on. So the reason or the way I was able to get more comfortable with this idea of personal branding and really step outside of my comfort zone was to recognize its potential to reach a broader audience and share my insights with those who could potentially benefit from them. So personal branding isn't just about self-promotion. It's about sharing your expertise and connecting with like-minded individuals. And so I realized that personal branding goes beyond surface level appearances. It's about defining what you stand for, aligning your presence with your professional goals, and authentically, bit of a tongue twister, engaging with your community. So I did seek help when needed, and you might need to do the same as you're crafting your personal brand. I did hire a personal branding photographer to update my photos. I consulted with a stylist to help me decide what to wear for photography. And I recognize that building a personal brand is a journey that often requires the support from others. So here are some prompts or questions for you to consider. And they're based on the idea that developing your personal brand is an ongoing process, one that evolves as you grow and learn more about yourself. And aligning your professional goals with your online presence, and yes, probably your LinkedIn presence and how you choose to show up on LinkedIn, crafting authentic narratives and solving real problems for your audience, you can establish a personal brand that resonates and drives your business and or your career forward. So the next step really in getting comfortable with the discomfort is acknowledging and being curious of the discomfort you may be feeling. Now, if you don't feel uncomfortable about personal branding, just move straight to the next step, which is developing a personal branding strategy. But if you do feel a little bit uneasy or uncomfortable or even scared about what some of my clients call putting themselves out there on LinkedIn, then I'd like you to spend some time answering the following questions. And I think it's a really helpful way to start thinking about how to build the personal brand that represents the best version of yourself, and especially your professional self. Although maybe when we look at the risk-taking step, there might be some hints of all of you. So here are some questions to consider. What makes you feel uncomfortable about personal branding? What are your values and how does this relate to your career? What are your short and medium term professional goals? What expertise would you like to share with others? Who do you identify as like-minded individuals? And that's probably more from a professional perspective, but also interests and what's unique about them and what's similar in terms of those like-minded individuals and yourself. And what in real life or online forums can you attend with these types of people? So how do you get into a room or spend time online with these people? And I mean beyond LinkedIn. I mean gatherings of professionals in the areas of expertise or like-minded individuals that you have identified. Now, introducing this idea of journal prompts is very new to the LinkedIn Marketer podcast. However, if you work with me one-on-one, it's a really common concept for me to encourage you to buy yourself, invest in a journal and sacred time with yourself, answering these sorts of questions and dwelling on the discomfort you may or may not be feeling about personal branding. So the next element is developing a personal branding strategy. And this is the space I'm spending more and more time in with clients in one-on-one virtual LinkedIn consults. So crafting a personal brand requires more than just an ad hoc approach. It really demands a well thought out strategy. So once you've delved into the various factors shaping your brand and answered the questions that I've shared with you in that previous step, you need to assess your commitment to maintaining a cohesive online presence and one that's anchored in a strategic content framework. Now, is this sounding a bit serious? Well, yes, that's the idea of a strategy, that it's a disciplined approach that requires some thinking. And that thinking really is around understanding the communities you want to serve and identifying the aspects of your personality that resonate with these communities, also align with your comfort level in sharing. So here's an example, and it's a relatively specific one about me stepping outside of my comfort zone and talking beyond my subject matter expertise. So do take this example with a grain of salt. You can also think about what might feel like safer topic for you in the short term until you start to strengthen that muscle of turning up regularly in your area of expertise. So the example is this. A colleague commented on my personal reflections in a piece I wrote on Think Bespoke's knowledge base, where I've written a regular blog for many years. And she liked these personal reflections. And she said, I'd like to have the courage to share those sorts of insights as well. And this feedback encouraged my category of blog articles called Thought Starters. And these types of reflections really stem from how I process experiences in my life, not only professional experiences, but I think at the time it was also how I was navigating my mother's decline in health due to dementia. And these days I talk more about my ambivert tendencies and this idea of confessions of an ambivert. And I have a Substack write about that regularly. And so when I shared some of these more personal experiences, it was interesting that they struck a chord with my audience. So sort of by accident, I think, that I first started revealing other parts of myself. And I think that would make sense to anyone listening who's experienced watching someone's health decline as a result of dementia or Alzheimer's. You would understand why you might use your blog a way to process, or writing as a way to process. And what was interesting about starting to publish these thought starters on Think Bespoke's knowledge base and blog is that it really was the beginning of helping me attract quieter and thoughtful folk, individuals who, like me, identify as ambiverts and find self-promotion uncomfortable. And an ambivert is in the middle of the introvert-extrovert continuum. So developing my personal brand's been facilitated by the disciplined practice crafting narratives through my regular blog post. Certainly the LinkedIn Marketer podcast has helped provide insights in a way that's unique to different aspects of my personality. And by sharing insights within my area of expertise on LinkedIn, via my monthly newsletter here on the podcast, I've become many people's go-to for LinkedIn. And central to my brand is my expertise in leveraging LinkedIn and my emphasis on being strategic, methodical, intentional, and really trying to give people a gentle nudge rather than demanding that you go and take all of these actions. So if you're in that, okay, Karen, yep, step 2 feels more relevant for me. How do I develop this personal branding strategy step? Here's some things for you to think about. Your approach will be unique and clear to you only when you go through your strategy based on your professional objectives. And I want you to remember this isn't a game, it's your career or business, and prioritizing yourself is important. Being clear about who you are and what you stand for is important in how you show up in your business or career, and it will help you attract the kind of clients or employees and colleagues and stakeholders and suppliers you enjoy working with. And when you deliver great results in your role or for your clients, they will tell their friends about the experience. So here's some things to consider in terms of the development of your strategy. And again, you might choose to answer these questions in sacred time with yourself in a journal. So what do you want to be known for in terms of your expertise? What do you want to be known for in terms of your professional approach? For example, do you want to be helpful? Do you want to be the expert? Do you want to be humorous? Do you want to be insightful? What is your detailed client avatar, persona, whatever you would like to call that? And if you're climbing the career or the corporate ladder and your career is emerging or you're taking it to that next level with a career, you might like to think about who is your ideal board or your ideal organization that you would like to work for or with. What are the topic areas you assist people with? And what are your perspectives on particular industry topics that interest current and potential stakeholders, clients, employers, boards? What other topics or issues do you care about that may be relevant to your ideal client, stakeholder, board? And what are the ones that you're willing to commentate on? And I don't want to say stick your neck out, because that would not be what is the point of what I'm doing with you, to be comfortable with having an opinion about. And not an opinion for the sake of having an opinion, but an opinion because you genuinely care about it and want to move this topic and the discussion and the issue forward with other professionals. So that was step 2. Step 3 in this embracing or cultivating, developing your personal brand is learning how to take risks with your personal brand. And while most of my articles and the insights here that I share on the LinkedIn Marketer podcast do focus on offering practical value in LinkedIn, personal branding, LinkedIn marketing, and the content marketing realms, my thought starters and podcast episodes like this really do provide more interest, more of a focus on being introspective. And so today I'm introducing this idea of the journaling prompts. And that's broadly uncomfortable for me because you're tuning in because you're wanting some LinkedIn marketing tips. However, I have insights that I know will be helpful for you. And I know that many of my clients are dealing with this at the moment. And so I'm stepping beyond my comfort zone to provoke deeper thoughts and discussions. And that risk is what I'm talking to you about in showing parts of yourself, parts of the things that you care about that go beyond the basics of your subject matter expertise. So into topics like dementia, navigating personal struggles, and exploring my identity as an Australian has its challenges. And this was sort of the nature of some of the topics I originally explored and started to write about on Think Bespoke's knowledge base. And if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have really discovered the niche that I really enjoy working in now, which is helping guide the professional journey of quieter and thoughtful people. And so striking a balance between asserting my convictions and maintaining approachability is really at the heart of personal branding for me And I'd suggest it's also going to be the fine line that you'll need to finesse, cultivate, and curate as you craft what your personal brand is. And it's conceivable that a robust personal brand might alienate certain segments. And so this ongoing journey really underscores the evolving nature of personal branding. It's a continuous process of refinement and adaptation because we are, of course, all a work in progress. And if we were to stay the same, well, life would just be a little bit boring. So if the concept seems abstract or elusive, like what is she talking about? More personal things. I think this podcast episode is a good example of that. You're also welcome to peruse the articles on Think Bespoke's knowledge base. That's our website, thinkbespoke.com.au, ThinkBespoke. And the Thought Starters category of blogs delve into more contemplative perspectives beyond the usual how-to guides, and they offer a glimpse into the depth of my insights and convictions. And these articles will give you a taste of what just be means and how to get more comfortable with putting yourself out there, she says in italics, talking about herself in the third person. Because I do believe that everything is sweetened by risk. But I want that to be a calculated risk, of course. And so writing in this way or showing up in this way for you can deeply connect you with your readers, followers, podcast listeners. And I've really enjoyed some wonderful conversations with clients and potential clients who've read these pieces. It's helped us get to know each other quicker and help them decide if I am for them. And that's why I continue to record this podcast episode, because I get the most fabulous feedback from you. I get feedback about the length of music at the end. I get people tell me they binge watch the whole thing, binge listen to the whole I think I've got over 85 podcast episodes now. And so connecting with your community in this way is a key benefit of cultivating your personal brand, helping potential clients or employers decide if you are for them, and really reducing risks as they evaluate your suitability as a service provider or employee. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. It's been a deep one. Enjoy those journal prompts. If you don't have a journal, why don't you go and buy yourself one? You might also buy yourself a Remarkable if you like that feel, the pen to paper. And do check back in and let me know how you go with the crafting of your personal brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. If you'd like to learn more about how to leverage LinkedIn, I'd love to be your guide. Sign up to my e-insights, my monthly newsletter that's packed with LinkedIn tips, thought starters, and exclusive subscriber offers. If you're just starting out on your LinkedIn journey, I'm so glad you've found me, and I recommend you check out my LinkedIn Profile Essentials online course. If you want to be the go-to for your organization's LinkedIn presence, I recommend you check out my LinkedIn Marketing Mentoring Program.